Hi! In today's video, we will build this pass for Apple Wallet. Building a pass involves several steps. While Apple provides extensive documentation, it lacks a clear step-by-step guide. This video aims to address that. The final code will be shared in the description down below, along with links to relevant resources for further learning. If you're new here, I'm Felipe, an iOS developer with several years of experience based in Norway. I recently worked on building a pass at my job, so I wanted to share my learnings. Pass styles. We can use passes for different use cases. They have a style that determines the layout of the pass and the features available to it. For travel tickets, we use a boarding pass. You can also offer event tickets via passes, use the coupon style for discounts or offers. Then for loyalty or membership cards, the store card pass is the right choice. And if none of those styles fits your use case, you can try the generic style. The process of creating a PassKit pass. An Apple Wallet pass is essentially a compressed folder with a particular content structure with a .pkpass extension. Its contents are a pass.json file, logos and icon assets, a manifest.json file, and a signature file. An essential property of a pass is its pass type ID. This is the identifier of the pass type that needs to be registered on your Apple developer account and has the shape of a reverse domain with the pass prefix, like pass.dev.craftingswift.youtube.passkit. The other essential property is the serial number of the pass, which is a string that identifies a concrete pass of a given type. Those properties together make the primary key for the pass. And if we were to update it, for example, we would need that the pass type and serial number remain the same. The pass type ID will have an associated certificate that we will use to sign the passes of this type. Let's register a pass type in the Apple developer account.
Okay, so the first thing is that we will go to the Apple developer account and the identity and profiles. We create a new pass type ID. We fill out the description and the identifier itself. Once we do that, we can tap on the identifier and we will create the certificate associated to that ID. So for that, we can create a certificate request either on the console or through Keychain. Then we upload that certificate request by giving the certificate a name. And then we can upload that request. Once that is processed, we can download the certificate. In this case, I move it to the folder and rename it. I will need the certificate in PEM format. With this command, I will create a PEM version of that certificate. I will need Apple Certificate Authorities certificate. So for that, I go to this website and download that certificate. I will move it to the folder. I will also need to convert that certificate into the PEM format, which I will use for the other commands. So with that, we have all the inputs that we need for the script in the right formats.
Normally, a pass would be created in our server. It's easier and more secure to deal with the secrets needed to sign the pass. Then, your app requests the created pass via an endpoint whose response content type must be application/bnd.apple.pkpass. That returns the pass data. In your pass, you can use that pass data to show an Add to Apple Wallet button, which, once pressed, will make the pass available on your wallet. You can choose to distribute your passes in a different way, like email, SMS, etc. The pass itself is just a file that needs to be opened in the phone. At a high level, the process to create a pass goes as follows. 1. You create the content of the pass.json file and prepare the assets. 2. You create the manifest file. 3. You sign the contents of the manifest file with the pass type certificate, which results in a signature file. 4. You bundle all the contents in a folder, compress it, and rename it to the PKPass extension. Then the file is ready to be distributed to the user. The content of a pass.json file is a particular structure documented by Apple, and it looks like this. At the top, you see the pass type identifier and the serial number I mentioned before, together with other data. In this case, I will create the content of a store card type, that will have a barcode on it. Check the docs to see which properties are available for the pass content. Apple also has concrete JSON examples for other kinds of passes. The content of the store card object will be used in the layout documented by Apple for this kind of pass. These are specific fields for this style of pass. The same goes for the layout and the assets we have available. They depend on the pass style. Here's a table taken from Apple's Human Interface Guidelines for passes. In my case, these are the sample assets for the pass I'm building. The next step is to build the manifest.json file. It's basically a JSON dictionary that lists all source files under SHA-1 hash. To sign the pass, we take the manifest file and we sign it using the pass type certificate, its private key, and the Apple Certification Authorities certificate. All of that will be used to create this signature file, which verifies that the pass content hasn't been modified when the Apple Wallet reads the pass. Here's an example of the OpenSSL command that creates the signature file. Now, with the pass.json, images, manifest, and signature file, we can compress them in a folder, and then we have our pass ready, which, when opening the phone, would look like this. Creating a pass in practice. To iterate the layout and content of my passes, I create a script that, given the input, certificates, and template files, creates a pass. Check the README to see the setup of the script. Once you downloaded the code, you need to gather the certificates and private key in the right format and set them in the directory with the right file name. With that, we run the command and have an actual signed pass that we can install in your phone or test in the simulator. To do that, we can just drag and drop to the simulator and the pass will open. I can also open the pass on macOS, but the best way is to open the pass on your iOS device. You can airdrop yourself the pass file and then you can add it to the wallet. I tested it and I know my pass works already. But while you develop, the pass might not have all the required properties, for example. I will start to make things easier by removing the pass from my wallet. I will remove a couple of required properties of the pass and build a new pass with my bash script. Before I drag and drop it to the simulator, I will open the console app and in this case connect to my simulator. I will start streaming in the console app and then I drag the pass to the simulator. And nothing really happened. If I haven't removed the previous version of the pass, I will still see the pass in the wallet. But it wouldn't be the new one I had just built. So to avoid the confusion, I removed it in this case. This is why we're streaming to the console, so we can see what went wrong. If we search for passbook in the console, we will find the reason why this pass was rejected by the system. This is how you iterate until you have an actually valid pass on your wallet. PassKit on iOS. We create the pass itself on the backend, but on our iOS app, we have certain utilities related to passes. Using the PassKit framework, we can query if the pass is already on the Apple Wallet or not. We do that by using PKPass library and checking if contains a concrete PKPass object. We can also do a quicker check with just the pass type ID and the serial number of the pass. And most importantly, given a PKPass object, we can present the Add to Apple Wallet button. In SwiftUI, it's particularly easy with Add Pass to Wallet button, which accepts an array of passes and a closure to know if the user added the pass after pressing the button or not. NFC passes. Passes with a QR or barcodes are okay, but an NFC pass is better and more secure. The bad news, though, is that not everyone can make NFC passes on iOS. To make NFC passes, your Apple developer account needs to be given a special entitlement, which you need to apply for to Apple. And it's only granted for organization App Store accounts, not individuals. Once Apple approves your request, when creating a certificate associated with your pass type ID, you will notice that it will mention that it is a NFC pass type certificate. Compare this to the certificate option for non-authorized Apple developer accounts. Note that we have the certificate that can sign the NFC passes. We will need to create a new pair of private public keys specifically for the NFC content. With that, we can replace the barcode key for NFC key. That needs two properties: encryption public key and message. From the docs, encryption public key is a public key with a specific format. Just reading this is not really understandable. Luckily, I found this blog post by PassNinja showing exactly the example of the public key that I will link in the description below. In my case, For my generated public key, it will look like this. The message will be a value associated with the user holding the pass. It should be a unique user to identify the user, but in the context of an NFC, and it cannot be longer than 64 characters. Okay, that's the setup. But this doesn't explain how the NFC communication works with Apple Wallet. Let's look at it at a higher level. First, our server needs to inform the reader server, the one that the NFC reader will communicate to in order to identify the user, the private key of the NFC communication. Then, for a particular user, the reader server will need the NFC identifier. This is the message value in the NFC payload in order to identify this user with the NFC pass. Okay, that's the initial setup. Now, when you will read an NFC pass, the first thing that happens is that the NFC reader starts a reading session. This will help iOS know to open the Apple Wallet. You select the pass and get it closer to the reader. When that communication happens, Apple Wallet will encrypt the message in the NFC payload using the encryption public key we added to the payload. Then, using NFC communication, that encrypted value will be received by the reader, which then it will send a message to the reader server, and it will decrypt that message using the private key we provided before. Then, it will access the plain data, which the server uses to identify the right user. The reader server then sends a confirmation to the reader terminal, which confirms to the Apple Wallet, completing the communication. NFC is a secure and convenient technology for users, so try to implement it if it's possible for you. Pass capabilities. As I mentioned before, Apple has tons of documentation about Apple Wallet passes because there's a lot you can do with them, which I cannot cover all in this video. You can localize your passes. You can add extra info for some pass styles, like events. You can add a server URL to the pass content, so Apple Wallet will communicate with your server to remotely update the pass if needed. You can use PassKit to track orders. You can have live activities and even request identity verification through the wallet. As you can see, there is tons to explore. Now you have both a high-level overview and concrete knowledge on how to implement Apple Wallet passes for your apps. The sample code link can be found in the description down below. And if you have any questions, leave a comment, I will get back to you. And if you like this video, you might enjoy my video about how to implement live activities next. And until the next one.